The idea behind biodegradable buildings is that structures like apartments and stores take up a lot of space, and are only fashionable for maybe 40 or 50 years. If we could construct a building that had a short, limited lifespan, we could repurpose that land for another building, perhaps one that would last as little as just a few months.
This is BOESCHLIT. Good morning, I'm Kurt Balderdash, and this is BOESCHLIT, your biweekly business and technology podcast that's twice as tall as it is wide. But first, here's what's shining our shoes today. Congress works on legislation forcing companies to report cyberattacks. The government wants companies to fill out a 327-page form in triplicate immediately after an incident, while companies wish to take up to 30 days to report them so executives can have time to dump their stock. Google settles class action lawsuit where they exposed the personal information for 52 million users of its failed Facebook knockoff Google+. The whopping payout for each person? $2.15. T-Mobile is reportedly offering to pay for 2 years of credit monitoring for all affected people of their data breach, so they can have a front row seat to watch their credit ratings plunge over time. Tesla hosted a live demonstration of its future robot project. The robot was simulated by a human in a robot suit, designed to look like a human in a robot suit. From the demonstration, it was clear that the robots are designed to help with chores around the house, such as, apparently, dancing. Amazon announced it will start to build stores. Beginning with small stores in test markets, the idea is to stock its own so-called Amazon private label brands, presumably inspired by product ideas appropriated from other companies that sell on Amazon. Boeing's Starliner space capsule is grounded indefinitely as they try to track down a problem with sticking valves on the rocket engines. So far, Boeing has failed to get their rocket program to the operational level of companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, or even Estes. And now, the numbers. 12, 16, 247, 836.9, and 6 7/8.
From the service department of the Boston used car superstore in Passaic, New Jersey, I'm Peter Dongle. Car dealers throughout the country are having difficulty with their inventory. Either they have too few new cars because of production problems, or they've sold a record number of used cars. Either way, their lots are looking pretty sparse these days. But help is on the way. Pattern Mirage Fleet is a company that produces balloons in the shape of cars, trucks and SUVs. Taking a page from World War II and the staging of a fake army in southern England, the idea is to create lifelike stand-ins of actual vehicles so a given lot looks full, at least from a distance. Car salesman D. Seaver explains.
People won't go into a car lot if it looks barren, so we put all of our vehicles that are for sale up front. The balloons are used mostly in the back to give us that full feeling.
How easy are these inflatable vehicles to set up?
They arrive in the middle of the night, and we unpack them in our service department here. Then we fill them with air from our pneumatic pumps. Takes about 18.5 minutes. Then we roll them out back into the lot.
How long do you expect to have to use this tactic?
Hard to say, but given current circumstances, we are thinking of selling the balloons too. If you can't have a real car, maybe you'd settle for an inflatable version of one. No registration or plates are needed, and the only maintenance it needs is to top it off now and again. We also recommend attaching one of these air fresheners that has that new car smell. Yummy.
Artificial intelligence is finding its way into practically everything these days, so-called smart products that range from smart cars to now smart toasters. With tech news, I'm Anita Martini. Have you ever made several pieces of toast, only to have them all come out different, some darker or lighter? Those days could be over, courtesy of the Schmarti-Toaster by Schmarti-Tech. Schmarti-Tech, German makers of smart products like the Schmarti-Weasel and Schmarti-Pants, has now introduced the Schmarti-Toaster. Priced at $349, the Schmarti-Toaster will guarantee always perfect pieces of toast. Every time you use it, it learns how you like your toast and how it performed the previous time. It does this by emailing you a survey after every toast-making event, which is then analyzed by the Schmarti servers, and the results are then downloaded into the Schmarti-Toaster. Although it certainly costs a lot of bread, it could be a must-have for those smart home enthusiasts in a jam for holiday gifts.
Making the world go round. This is BOESCHLIT.
From the BOESCHLIT Eco Desk.
With BOESCHLIT Eco News, I'm Peter Dongle. The Federal Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, has been conducting research into biodegradable buildings. Since 2009, HUD has built 23 buildings of various sizes and watched as they fell into decay. The idea is to construct buildings to remain standing only as long as they are needed and to disintegrate into dust when they have served their useful purpose. It is believed this will benefit the environment in some as of yet undetermined way. Joining us from Washington is Edgar Mulch, Director of Special Projects at HUD.
Good evening.
It's morning.
Right. My watch is still on Paris time. I just got back from a seminar on alternative construction methods in France.
Oh, when was that?
Last month.
Mr. Mulch, could you explain the environmental benefits of biodegradable buildings?
The idea behind biodegradable buildings is that structures like apartments and stores take up a lot of space, and are only fashionable for maybe 40 or 50 years. If we could construct a building that had a short, limited lifespan, we could repurpose that land for another building, perhaps one that would last as little as just a few months. Then every structure would have urban renewal built in.
What type of buildings are you examining for this technique?
Apartment buildings are our major focus at HUD, although any commercial building would work. Shopping malls would also be a good candidate. God knows they're not of much use now. I think back to the Big Dig in Boston a couple years ago.
It was 20 years ago.
Yes. Imagine if Interstate 93 was made in a biodegradable way. The demolition costs would have been considerably less once it collapsed into dust and blew into the bay.
But what if it collapsed while there were people driving on it?
This is a hypothetical question at this point. Since it didn't happen, we can certainly be thankful for that.
According to our research, the government has spent $6.3 billion and 12 years working on this dubious project. Has HUD discovered any environmental benefits?
Our research is not quite complete. We are waiting on our part of the infrastructure bill to begin the next phase of biodegradable construction.
Wait. You are waiting to get infrastructure money to build temporary buildings that will evaporate in a matter of years.
Yes, and the sooner the better. Once that part of the study is out of the way, we can move on to writing our recommendations for future eco-construction methods. The lead council is chomping at the bit to begin a certification process on biodegradable buildings.
LEED, the organization that certifies the relative green construction and operational aspects of buildings with designations such as silver, gold, and platinum.
Indeed. I think they are looking at a dark brown for this one.
Mr. Mulch, thank you.
Good night.
And finally tonight,
it's morning.
And finally this morning, gas prices continue to move up, pushed along further by the effects of Hurricane Ida. At this point, it would be customary for the lazy news media to include a really obvious statement from the Trilby-Lundberg survey, with no follow-up questions or discussion of energy policy or even economics. But we won't do that. Nope. That's all for now. Join us again next time. Different day, same BOESCHLIT.